Are you excited for the new PvP scenario? Or are you still unfamiliar with it? Today, I'll be showing you some gameplay from the new scenario, and I'll also explain how it works. First, I'll let you watch the gameplay, and afterward, I'll provide a detailed explanation.
荒野青龙还有一条会降落，今天还可以再抓一条荒野青龙，我们去打一波架。荒野青龙就会在这个点位刷新，我之前抓的时候就在这块，这两天我都没玩，我的装备差距可能比较大。出了！荒野青龙，哎，给我吧，哥！我怎么感觉似曾相识啊，兄弟？第二条，我懂了。荒野青龙如果在公测的话，这个东西至少是5倍。哎，有人打我！救命，哥！有没有服务的人救一下阿德狗命？我好几天没来中原测日服，我装备有点跟不上。这边有没有在中原测日服的？我给你们肉了。我家里边已经有一条青龙了，有要的吗？有在中原测日服的吗？我又抓了一条，而且我这么跟你们说，兄弟，中原测日服的话，荒野青龙数量很少的。青龙在野泽身上，不是你们这帮人的话，能不能别在世界频道上面说啊？到家了，兄弟们，我到家了。等我先把荒野青龙先放进去了，兄弟，我先给它放进去。这个收容物要收容2个小时，这2个小时的话，你是不敢走的，哥。这2个小时你不敢走，因为你的房子可以被别人拆。好几个主播都过来找我来了，来人了，兄弟们，来干我了，罗塞塔主哥来了，兄弟来人了，兄弟，我得起我的战歌了。好，先手偷袭是吧？咱还是有一战之力的，只要是在房子旁边，我手上这把鳄运的话，就构成了1-5了。挺有惹套路啊！快跑，赶紧打药。你离这么近的话，你肯定是不想活了，兄弟。我就等你离得我近呢。转圈踩上了，来人了，好多罗塞塔。你是什么意思？这边又在拆，罗塞塔好多，5-6个人。没有人啊。颜值好高，我好烦啊！为什么就不在我 PVP2 区啊？操你的猴子！今天不是浮游在线的早，没人来，平常心吧，没办法，继续跟他们干，没事。我再拆吧，来面对我来。玩什么？今天直播项目就是环城马拉松，我一直在运动当中，我也不开延迟，欺负我没格。
You're probably wondering why you just grabbed the Berserkosaurus Rex and ran. That's because it's how you earn points in the new PvP scenario. Now let me give you more details about how this new scenario works. In the new PvP scenario, there's a ranking system and 2 factions, Rosetta versus Mayfly. No more warband fights. This scenario will only feature battles between Rosetta and Mayfly. If you belong to Mayfly, you'll be allied with other Mayfly players. So when you join public events, you won't attack each other. Instead, you'll be fighting against players from Rosetta. To win as a faction, your team must have more points than the opposing faction. How do you collect points? It's simple. You need to farm deviants like the Eel, Digby Boy, and others. Each deviant gives different point values. Digby Boy, Eel, and similar ones are worth 10 points each. The Berserkosaurus Rex gives you 200 points, and the highest point reward comes from the Radiant, which offers even more. How do you secure points? You just need to store them in your securement unit. The time it takes depends on the point value of the deviants you've collected. For high-value deviants, like those with 200 points, it can take up to 2 hours to fully secure them and receive the points. However, be aware, you cannot secure them in a safe zone, as that's not allowed. Can you steal other players' deviants? Yes, you can. If someone doesn't secure their deviants in time, you have the opportunity to raid them. But be careful when you're securing deviants yourself, because your location will be marked on the map, making you a target. That's why it's important to have friends guarding your base while you secure your points. Where can you find the Berserkosaurus Rex and the Radiant? You can get them during public events, which is why teamwork is so important. If your team has more points than others, you'll receive a buff, a 20% boost in gathering and territory defense. Don't worry too much about getting offline raided, because there's a 70% defense boost from midnight to noon. However, desperate players might still try to raid you, but they'll need to use more bombs due to the increased defense. That's all from me for now. I'll also attach the dev's video from the live stream. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to answer them. See you in the new PvP scenario, and good luck. Have fun.
Hello, Metas! Welcome to today's Once Human Crash Course. I'm your friend H37, and today I'll be talking about Prism vs. Clash, the new PvP scenario coming with the version 1.2 update on September 26th. This scenario features team PvP that's even more intense and fast-paced than an Evolution's Call. Firstly, Prism vs. Clash has fewer phases, 4 to be precise, other than starting settlement phase. All other scenario phases have been shortened to 19 days. This will greatly reduce the preparation period, meaning you'll get a pure PvP combat experience from the very first day of the season. In the wilderness, multiple contest areas have been marked where you can engage in PvP either solo or alongside your friends. Furthermore, you won't drop any gear or resources if you're defeated in Prism vs. Clash, so you can go all out in PvP without worrying about losing important items. There's no doubt Prism vs. Clash will involve many ambushes and group fights, but there's more. You can also raid other players' territories. This game mode, which combines base building and PvP, is sure to make the faction war much more thrilling. In contest areas, combat is only one shot away. The fights between raiding and defending hives may break out any time. Call on your friends, prepare your best gear and items, and plan your raid strategy to crush your enemies and their bases all at once. You might be wondering what new challenges Prism vs. Clash has to offer. That's why I'm here. Let me tell you all about this new scenario. Now, how is the winning faction determined? Prism deviations are the key to victory in Prism vs. Clash. Fight over them in the wilderness and secure them to earn Prism energy for your faction. The faction with the most Prism energy by the end of the scenario wins. Now, you might be wondering, what in the world are Prism deviations? And how do they differ from regular deviations in existing scenarios? Prism deviations are special deviations with unique attributes that can be found throughout the world. Prism deviation provides a different amount of Prism energy depending on its rarity. Certain deviations, such as Electric Eel and the Digby Boy, will be converted into Prism deviations. 2 new Prism deviations will also be introduced in this scenario: Berserkosaurus Rex and the Radiant one. which are so rare that securing one will earn your faction a massive amount of Prism energy. But how am I supposed to find these Prism deviations, you ask? They can be obtained by fishing and gathering in contest areas or by participating in public crisis events. That's not all, though. You can also attack the opposing faction and seize their hard-earned Prism deviations for yourself and your faction. The next question is, how do you secure a Prism deviation after obtaining it? I've prepared a securement guide, so please note the following pointers. 1. You must be in a contest area to secure a Prism deviation. 2. Prism deviations take different amounts of time to secure, depending on their rarity. 3. If you teleport, enter a safe zone, are defeated by another player, or enter a dungeon while carrying a Prism deviation in your backpack, the Prism deviation will escape and return to the contest area. Prism deviations will also escape if held in a securement facility in your territory, and the facility is destroyed before securement is complete. Therefore, you should team up and defend Prism deviations while they are being secured. If you are confident enough, you can even collect multiple Prism deviations and secure them all at once. But you'll have to be careful. Carrying a Prism deviation will reveal your location to the opposing faction. And the more Prism deviations you have, the more exposed you'll be. Having been through the basic rules, you'll probably have noticed that your territory is extremely important in the fight for Prism deviations. Defending Prism deviations as they're being secured will take more than your own strength. It'll also take a strong territory. Having a well-built territory will increase your chances of withstanding enemy raids. You should aim to occupy strongholds in the wilderness with your hive or faction allies, or else build a huge fortress with robust defenses. I'm looking forward to seeing the creative territories you'll come up with. But I wonder if even the most seemingly perfect territory can truly be impregnable. I guess you'll have to find out for yourself. To help you adapt to Prism vs. Clash quicker, the Senario has 3 major seasonal phases, namely Prism Descent, Clash at Blackfell, and The Last Stand. So, what are these phases exactly? The first phase, Prism Descent, lasts for 5 days. During this time, only 4 regions in the wilderness will be accessible: Mayfly Base, Safe Zone, Rosetta Base, Safe Zone, the Public Safe Zone, and Central Blackfell Contest Area. You can think of this phase as a warm-up period during which you can familiarize yourself with the rules of the faction war, as well as try out game modes like public crisis events, securement silos, and monoliths. The second phase, Clash at Blackfell, lasts for 7 days and represents the peak of the faction war. During this phase, the Western Blackfell contest area will become accessible, enlarging the theater of conflict. Public crisis events, securement silos, and monoliths on hard mode will also become available. The third phase, The Last Stand, lasts for 7 days and will be decisive in determining the outcome of the faction war. Eastern Blackfell contest area and Pro Mode dungeons will con available during this phase. Different incidents will also occur during each phase of the scenario. What kind of impact will they have on the battlefield? You'll have to find out for yourself. Now, I'm sure you'd like to know about what kind of rewards you'll be getting for your contributions to your faction during this season. Firstly, unlike Evolution's Call, there are no war bands in Prism vs. Clash, so seasonal rewards are tied to your faction instead. If your faction accumulates the requisite amount of Prism energy, all members will receive Star Chromes as a reward. You can also complete individual season goals during each phase to earn rewards. including Legacy of Conflict loot crates, star chromes, and more. And if your faction wins, or if the scenario ends in a draw, you'll be getting 9 Legacy of Conflict loot crates. But don't worry if your faction loses. You'll still receive 6 of those coveted Legacy of Conflict loot crates. Individual players in each faction will be ranked based on their contribution during each phase, and will receive rewards according to their ranking. You'll also be able to share your personal rewards with other players. This means that, in addition to your personal rewards, you'll be able to share the rewards of one other player. That concludes this crash course on the Prism vs. Clash scenario. See you on the battlefield on September 26th.